Right, so I've ordered new nuts and I've put them on 24-hour delivery, but I don't, given where we are, I'm not confident that they will achieve that, but it's there. I've also been told that although the Haynes manual gives a torque sequence, and I can't remember what it is, something like that. Sorry, something like that. BT actually, no, not BT, BL, British Leyland, actually updated it at some point. And I need to go back and read the notes on it, but it's on the previous video in the comments. And I think it was that you do these to 20 first, then these to 50, then these up to 70, and then these up to 70, or something like that. Anyway, I will check that before I do it, and hopefully they will arrive tomorrow so that I can get it done then. In the meantime, we're going to look at the water pump and the fuel pump. Okay, so I've put these on. These get torqued to 27 Newton meters. Okay. And now we feel what gap we've got here. Now we're going to get someone else to take a second opinion of this, because that looks like there isn't any gap. Always read instructions carefully, Henry. So these should only be tightened finger tight for this bit of it. So we're going to loosen these right off. And start again. Right, there we are, finger tight. So I make that 29 thou in here. Now that's my biggest gap. Elsewhere I've got less. Okay, but right there, yeah, so that's my biggest gap right there, and I've got 29 thou. And my target is between 10 and 25. Okay, so I need between 4 and 25 thickness. No, 4 and 19 thickness in terms of gaskets. So let's see if we can find that. Right, I found this in a plastic bag marked 10 thou, and oh, where is it? There. Can we get that in focus? Hopefully. Oh. Okay, and hopefully you can see that that is reading 10 thou. So back here, the mark doesn't get to the first one, and then the first thing that lines up is the one here. So that's 10 thou. And I did check it to make sure I got it right with a feeler gauge, and that's a 10 thou feeler gauge. And I get exactly the same reading. So this is my 10 thou. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to apply gasket maker to both sides of this. We'll stick it on, and we'll go from there. I was just having a little think, and before I actually apply the gasket maker, or whatever we call it, I want to make sure that it turns, the engine all turns with that in place. So I've put the gasket on. I'm just doing them finger tight for now. And we'll check the engine turns. Good, so the engine continues to turn without any extra noise. I'll now torque it down and check again. And I think I said the torque for this is 27. Pump cover bolts, 20 foot-pound, 27 Newton meters. That all seems good still. So I'm going to do it off camera, but I'm going to put gasket maker on that gasket just to make sure I've got a good seal and put it back on. Good, so water pump installed. Final check that it's turning. Oh, perfect. Good. Right, then what's next? Right, I've just temporarily lightly fitted the pump. So I've put in the shaft, and that is not quite into the... Oh. I don't think that's in the... Oh, I might have got it in to the distributor. I might have been lucky. So if I applied an O-ring, I can't find my gasket for here, which is very disappointing because I should have at least one. I'm just going to give that paint a little clean though. And, oh, actually, maybe I won't bother since I'm going to need a gasket. So I'm just going to apply this and put it on, but I know I'll need to take it off again. And I'm just putting it on so that, because I really want to get my, into the engine. I'll be able to take it off again from in there. And if I can do that, oh, there we go. So if I can get it into the engine, you know, off the stand into the engine bay, then I can come back to some of these bits. But I need the stand for my other car. So fuel pump is going on. So that gas, the O-ring, I know I need to take back out and put some oil on. Note to self. No, let's actually do it. Okay, so my kit doesn't have, I've fitted the drive shaft here, pushed the distributor out a bit, but I know I can get it in. I don't have a gasket for here. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I do know I don't have one. So I've got a new oil pump here. Just get some oil on it, on the O-ring, and we'll tighten this up. Torque setting here is 27 Newton meters.
Goes on here, does it?
It does. Okay, so next on is oil transfer housing. Just talking to my dad. he said probably doesn't need a gasket because it has an O-ring, which makes perfect sense to me. So I put new oil rings on both of these. So it goes in like this. And I'm going to guess the torque is 27 Newton meters again, given the size of the bolt. Oil transfer. Right, so I think the torque for this is meant to be 46 Newton meters. That's 34 foot-pound, which seems to me a lot. Mind you, it's still moving, John, and we can't get a. I can't get a thing on, even if it's the right size, because they're too wide. I still haven't found the right size. What did I put in? Well, there's one too big as well, but you can see because this is in the way, and we can't get that loose at the moment. It's just, and I don't want to get. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Nothing like filming to get it going. Right, so you saw we got that loose. So the penetrating oil had finally taken effect. Bit of time, bit of penetrating oil, it works. Now I've taken this up to 27, then I took it to 40, now I'm going for 46 Newton meters.
Shouldn't be that far.
Sorry? You don't think I should? It's still. I'm just. This is steel, of course, isn't it? This is aluminum. This is steel.
Yeah.
So let's go back to 40. I'm going to go down to 42. $44. 46.
No.
Right, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Why does it so make such a difference? So 44 instant. Why it would move that much, I don't know. Well, if anyone can tell me, please do, but we're at 44, so I'm hoping that should be okay. So we'll just screw this back in now. 7/16, not using a metric on this. Seems to be going back in a long way now. Do you want to feel that, see if you agree? Good. So that's in, that's in. So we need to put in the fuel pump. And I need to get the distributor to, there we go onto its shaft. So actually what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to check, I've still got the distributor at top dead center because the drive shaft pushed it out. Right, distributor had to come up and back a few times to get it lined up right. But we have that now sorted. It's because it was, you know, the drive shaft is six-sided, whatever that is, hexagon. And so I kept getting it on either side of that as it was going in. So that's okay. It's at top dead center, so everything's still lined up. And we'll just check again very quickly. Everything comes back. Good. So, we're about to pop out. What do we need to do? So I need to do the fuel pump down here still. And that's it. Is that right? Everything else I think is on at that point. That's progress. So the next thing we're going to do is put in the fuel pump. So we'll start by putting a bit of gasket maker on the and then this should hook under. I don't know why I said should hook under. I don't think it does hook under. So I turned the engine a bit just to see if I could get it to seat better, and it certainly seemed to. Okay, so that looks, yeah, so the gap's gone. I'm just going to make sure the engine turns nicely still. Okay, yeah, so that's all turning. Good. Next thing is the torque settings for the fuel pump. That's almost going to be in exhaust fuel pump, torque settings, fuel pump bolts, 19 Newton meter. Fine, and the last thing to fit, I think, well, the next thing I'm going to fit is the transfer housing. So, as usual, we have a new gasket, which goes on like that. Okay, so the battery on my phone, no, my phone was full, so so this was all put on, and the 4 outer ones are all torqued to 27 Newton meters. The inner one, I was getting nervous about it as I was turning it, didn't feel like it was torquing up, so instead I applied a bit of Loctite to it and didn't quite get it up to the 27. I think up to 20 only, but it was then turning, so that's there. The other thing I've done is on the other end here, we have knocked out the old sealing ring, put in a new one around there, and then there isn't a gasket behind this at the moment, so it's just, I wanted to temporarily fit it and make sure everything looks okay. I've been just trying to clean this off a bit. It's better than it was, but it still needs a bit of a clean. So we're going to continue with that. Right, so the next thing I'm going to try to do is fit the timing chain cover. So I need to find the gaskets and apply the appropriate gasket maker and all of that kind of stuff, and get that on. Okay, a little bit frustrating here. First of all, my phone's playing silly buggers and keeps switching off on me when I'm recording, so that's not great. And then for the bolts, I seem to be missing a 2 3/4 inch one that goes here, and a 2-inch one for the timing chain to hold that in place. But I have an extra 2 1/4 inch one, which is right there. I need to, I don't know where they've gone, although I have dropped them a couple of times. So I'm going to have a search around the floor and see if we can find anything. And I don't know. I found the longer one, which goes in here, which means, oh, that's a bit tight. But what that means, since everything now has something in it, is that one of these other bolts must be slightly shorter and go in here. So I'm going to go through them all and see. Okay, let's run through that again. So I have tested all of these nuts, bolts. These two are 1 7/8, I think, or 1 3/4, which is right. These two are 2 3/4, which is right. The rest, well, this one's obviously longer, and then the rest are all the correct size. None of them are 2 inches, they're all 2 1/4 or something like that, including this one here, which is meant to only be 2 inches. And I've measured that gap there, and that is about the variance. So I need a replacement for that. Now I think I should be able to get the engine in and then change that afterwards. So I'll order that up and then go from there. Okay, so the torque setting for these is 27. There we go, everything torqued. Okay, so whilst we've got the engine this way up, got no filter in here, but let's just stick this on. So that's there, and I'll just leave it like that. Obviously it needs a filter and an O-ring. And now let's just flip the engine over and put in these two head bolts. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here. I just looked at I think it was episode 23. I wanted to see if I had changed the this seal, and I hadn't. And in fact, I haven't put a gasket in there either. So I'm going to have to take this out, which means it's got to come off the stand. And so we'll do that in the next episode. I also didn't torque the sump bolts according to that video. So I need to do that, and I'm waiting for these nuts to turn up today within the next couple of hours. So it's all on there and torqued, except for those bits that aren't. So we will proceed on to that in the next episode.